Hello everyone and welcome to Don't Be Bored. Today we're going for Best of the Month, where I'm joined by some other creators to tell you what we've enjoyed most. These don't have to be brand new games, and in fact my one isn't, but first of all let's see what games others have been picking this month.
Hi, I'm Barb, Meeple PhD, and my favorite play for April 2024 is Spirit Island. This is a game where you are spirits on an island trying to discourage the invaders from coming to your island. So you're pushing away colonists with the help of the locals, the day hand, and also your own innate powers and different powers that you are getting throughout the game. This is a cooperative game where, each turn the invaders do various actions. They explore new lands, they build up their lands, and then they fight each other, which can cause blight to your island. But before they do your actions, you have a chance to do some fast powers in order to mitigate the things that they're going to end up doing. And then at the end of the round, you can do some slow powers to kind of clean up what they've done. I've been playing this with my friend because this is actually not my copy of the game. This is hers. She was moving and didn't want to pack this up with the rest of her boxes, and so left it at my house. And I have been playing it solo quite a bit, and then she's been coming over about every week, and we've been playing through one of the scenarios in the game. So the game has a base game, which is challenging enough, but then you can add in these different scenarios where you are battling specific colonists who are coming to your island. This is our first foray into those scenarios, and so we are just working our way through kind of the starter one that they suggested, and we've been doing all right so far. We've lost a couple of the games, but then replayed it and we're able to push through and win. The other thing we're doing, though, is trying different spirits each time. So part of the game is choosing what spirit you want to use. Some of them are super good at doing those fast powers. Some of them are really great at slower powers, which means you might have a little bit of a mess that happens before your powers trigger. Some of them are really good at getting their presence out on the board so they can spread out and kind of take care of things anywhere on the board. Some of them are more concentrated and it takes them a little longer to build up their presence across the board, which means that early in the game, they're more limited in where they can help out. We try and play a couple of games with the same spirits just to kind of get them in our heads, but then we want to try another spirit because it's super fun to try the new ones and see what they do. And so for me, this has just been a great fun experience for the last actually couple of months at this point, where we have been getting together, trying all of the different spirits. It's just been a delight to explore more parts of this game than I've gotten to. Anyway, so that is my favorite for the month, Spirit Island. I hope you've had a great month gaming. I have my own channel, Meeple PhD, where I explore astronomy and board games. So go check that out if that sounds like it's your thing. Otherwise, I'm also on Instagram and Blue Sky, so you can go check me out there. Otherwise, I hope you have a great month gaming, and I'll see you next time.
Hi, I'm Julian, and this is Libby, and together we make up Boxed Meeples. And once again, we're talking about the favourite board games we played in April.
We are indeed. And I am picking Earth. It's a game that we've played quite a few times since it's released, but we've recently brought it back again because we have the Abundance. So it's a prototype, but it's meant that we've brought Earth back to the table again. And this is a lovely tableau building game. You're trying to get a 4x4 grid and make everything work together whilst you're growing out your different plants and landscapes and all sorts of bits and pieces. And this is a nice one because you get your action, which is great. And then on every turn, there's like a follow action. So it's one of those games that negates that kind of waiting around for the next person and the next person and the next person, because you essentially get to have a turn on every person's go, which I love. And this one is actually, in my opinion, made better with Abundance. Abundance is adding a sixth player, which this month we haven't made use of, but in future times it will be very helpful for us when we have get-togethers for gaming. But we have just been playing at 2. But some of the nice things about this one is the seeds. Now they let you sort of trade them in. It's a new resource and you can trade it in for other resources, and you can also trade some in to be able to hunt through the deck for the cards that you're after, that so make that tableau that you're building, that 4x4 grid of cards, really sync up well. And I think some of the criticisms that this original base game had was that people were finding such a huge stack of cards, all look glorious, all wonderful, but if you're really trying to sync everything up, it was a bit harder to get that engine going in the way that you wanted. But now with this, it really helps pull all that together, and you've obviously got lots of nice new cards to add variety and things as well. But yes, a game that we enjoyed originally and are loving even more with Abundance, which is crowdfunding at the moment, I believe.
Yeah. What's great about Earth is no matter really what you do, it feels like you're going along a point scoring path, which makes it kind of ideal for beginners. It seems a bit daunting at the beginning when you're saying choose one of these 3 cards and then you're going to start building out your little area of the Earth. And I find that's made even more better with Abundance, because if you have made any early mistakes, it gives you that kind of ability to correct those, which is kind of a nice thing to do and makes it just even easier for new players. So I always include the Abundance expansion even now as a rule whenever we're playing Earth.
Yeah, just improves it.
Just does.
Yes.
My favourite game this month has been Hostage Negotiator by Van Ryder Games. I've talked a lot about how much I enjoy Detective City of Angels. I've talked how much I enjoy Final Girl, and whisper it, I think this game is better than Final Girl.
I mean, that could well be an unpopular opinion, but who knows?
I love the theme of this. So basically, you are laying cards down to try to persuade someone not to kill a load of hostages. It's very kind of late 90s, early 2000s in its vibe.
Yeah, it's quite dark.
Yes, and it's made slightly darker by the fact I replaced the meeples with kind of miniatures of hostages.
Yes.
Just to amp up the atmosphere.
They are very dark.
But this is such an atmospheric game. But it's a game that's actually really rather thinky. What you have is you have 3 different abductors. But each one of those you do have to approach differently. So in essence, it's really a puzzle game. You have to work out what best approach you're going to take to kind of diffuse the situation. For some, it's going to be get in there as quickly as possible, send the whole team in, build up your conversation points, buy expensive cards to get the hostages out as quick as you can, because they might just kill them. For others, it's, well, let's calm them down. Let's sweet talk them a little bit so you can lower the threat level, get more dice, which makes it more and more likely you're going to get the good results you need. And once everyone's completely calm, once you keep lowering them, you're just getting hostages out slowly, slowly, slowly. And, no one's getting shot, no one's getting killed, everybody's happy. There's often the criticism of games like this, and also of Final Girl, that it's just rolling dice. And if the dice don't go your way, you don't win.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not sold on that argument.
No,
yeah.
It's all about luck mitigation. It's all about anticipating a mediocre dice roll and how you're going to use your cards you've got to make that dice roll better and get the result you want. So if people say it's just random luck whether you win or not on these games, they probably haven't played them enough.
Hey buddies, welcome to AmassGames. My name is Simon. Today I'm bringing best of the month for April 2024. Now, I've played lots of different games in this particular month. It's my biggest month ever for playing games, over 260 hours log plays already. This happens to be a 2-player game by GMT, very high quality opponents. This is called Sekigahara. If you've seen the TV show Shogun, you'll know a lot about this because it's set in the same year. It's based on the actual events that happened in Sekigahara in the year 1600, involving 2 different factions. You might even recognise some of the Mon or sigils in it. Some people even look very similar as well. So this is a block game. It's the highest rated war game as well, specifically of the block genre. Hidden movement is a kind of way of playing this game whereby it's asymmetric. There's 2 different ways of winning, designed by a billionaire, by the way, whereby you're either trying to defeat your opponent's leader or maybe even conquer them by reaching their opponent's base and thus get the most points by getting the most castles and the most trading posts. Castles worth 2 points and you happen to get 1 point per trading post. So either getting points or defeating the opponent's leader or running over their castle is the way to win the game. It's a game that takes place over 7 rounds. This was a 7-week battle, and you take 2 turns per week, or per round as you want to define it. And you have various blocks such as these. I've got extra component boxes which doesn't actually come with the game. These are gold ones, again nice high quality components. You might think it's a bit too abstract being just blocks representing 5,000 people each. However, I think it is very thematic for how it does work. It does look great on the table. It's a lovely game to play. And even though it says 2 to 3 hours in the box, even with the teach, I've got it down to under 2 hours for a first-time player. Now, they have already watched my how to set up play and review video, so please do Google AmassGames and Sekigahara to see how to play it and all the history about this, because I can tell you a little bit more about it. Basically, there were these two guys who happened to be allies, and then they happened to become enemies, and then they kind of became friends again, but there was a power void, and one of them was based in Osaka, which was also called Kyoto. Well, also Kyoto. Kyoto was the capital. You also happen to have Edo, which became Tokyo, and Tokyo went on to, of course, become the capital of Japan. So Edo, at the time, as it was called, was a bit of a backwater place, but this guy within 10 years transformed it and made it obviously very prosperous, which the other guy thought would take him generations to do. So again, watch Shogun, check this out. They talk about it in the final episode, which I'm so glad they did. And they even show like a scroll at the end, which I thought excellent. I really hope they'd show some form of letter, because there's betrayal as well. So you're trying to outthink your opponents as well. Highly recommend checking it out. Like I said, it is a highly rated game. It's the 5th printing, the 2024 edition. And I do recommend checking this out. It does say 2022 on the box, but it's actually 2024, this particular version as well. That's Sekigahara. Again, speech again soon in the month of May. But for now, any questions, of course, do let me know in the comments are best. But like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. For now, back to the table.
Hi, I'm Josh from the YouTube channel joshyaks, and I used the occasion of my 48th birthday to coerce a handful of my loved ones to come over to my place and play a couple of my very favorite board games with me. Now, as it turns out, it's a good job I did this early in the month, because this past week was the week of my actual birthday, and I've been so sick that I ended up spending the entire day in a merge yesterday. But I didn't want to miss this video, because I really wanted to mention these two games I got to play during my birthday game day. The first one was an old favorite called Chaos in the Old World, and over the past 12 years or so, I've been dabbling off and on with customizing and enhancing pretty much every single component in the game, except for the cards, I guess. But even with the cards, I've been working on mixing and matching kind of the base game cards with some of the expansion cards to sort of rebalance the gods a little bit and how they play out between each other and with themselves, between the two victory conditions that are possible in the game. So after 12 years of work, I had finally completed this massive project. I got to get it to the table for the birthday game day, and I was so excited to do that. I'm going to make an entire video about the process of customizing the game and how it turned out when we played it. So I'll just leave that as is for now, and I'm going to go on to the second game I got played, and it is a game called The Boss, which is just this tiny, innocuous little game that you would not think is one of my #1 games of all time. But after finally playing it again for the first time in several years, I realized that I really cannot rate this game less than a 9.5 out of 10. And in fact, as a 4-player gaming experience, this really is a 10 out of 10 game for me. It's just such a brilliant little design. It's quite simple. It plays great with 3 to 4 players, especially. Up to 5 players does work. It does have a little expansion that helps with that too. And I was so excited to get this to the table again as well, even though I lost both of the games that we played of it. I also lost Chaos in the Old World too, but it was such a special day, such a great experience, and I was really excited to get a couple of old favorites to the table that I have not played in many years. And now I really got to go lie down again. So I'll catch you next month again. Cheers.
This month has been fairly busy for me, so I've not been able to play too many games, but there have been some that have stood out. The one that really takes it for me, though, is a game that, well, I kind of already knew I liked, but I haven't been able to really say it's my best of the month before now, and that is Unmatched Adventures Tales to Amaze. There's just something so special about taking a game series that I absolutely adore, which is Unmatched, and I now have a new cooperative way to play all of the heroes that I'd got before. For instance, we had Medusa and Bruce Lee fighting down Mothman, which is an amazing thing because, well, first of all, that's 3 different boxes of games combining into one experience. And I love the differences that you get with the different characters, with Medusa bringing the harpies as her sidekicks, Bruce Lee just getting in there and hopefully getting a lot of hits in and gaining extra actions and stuff like that. Just those two just make it so different than like the like Jill Trent or the characters that are included automatically in that box. It's got to the stage where if someone says, oh, I wouldn't mind trying Unmatched, I still recommend Cobble and Fog, but a very close second, almost sort of in line, is Unmatched Adventures, simply because you can play it competitively or cooperatively and expand from there. And I'm wrapping up the show today, so what a good time to say, check out the links in the description to the other creators that were on today's show. Do go and check them out, give them a subscribe, watch their content, because they're all fantastic creators that join me on this show, Tabletop Tea Time, and previous episodes. Go back and watch them as well. Just because it's best of the month, you can see from this, they're not really monthly, they're just monthly shows. They're not like specifically about the month. So you always are going to hear about some great games from a variety of voices, which is what this is all about. Anyway, until next time, have a brilliant month gaming.